BQ speaks in vinyl cracks. Feel the drop, it takes you back. Heartbeats sync with dusty tracks. A sound attack, no plan, no map.
What up again, party people? It is BQ, and it is the Negative BQ YouTube channel. Thanks for swinging by. Big shout out to TNA for giving me a lot to talk about lately. Been able to put together a lot of content for the channel. They've had a lot of news. Some good, some bad, a lot bad. But right now, I think they're riding a pretty good wave of momentum with Slammiversary, with this tournament. And, there's been also news coming out via other sources, PWI, Fightful, whatever, that I hope are confirming a lot of the things that I tell you guys. Now, there's some things I'm gonna say that might be a little off. I can admit to you guys, I was told regarding Road Dogg that they hadn't spoken to him. Where clearly they have. So, there's times that I'm gonna be a little bit off, whatever. But I told you guys TNA was profitable. I said don't argue on social media about it. Wait for Fightful or something to say it. Now Meltzer, of course, is trying to debunk it, but I don't care who you listen to on your TNA news. Like seriously, do not listen to him. Nobody's talking to that dude. And if he's getting info, because I give you secondhand info where his is like third or fourth hand or coming from a disgruntled wrestler. You understand? So do not listen to that motherfucker. And what was the other thing Fightful dropped the other day? Regarding Delirious. I told you guys they didn't view him to be the problem. That it was mainly Tommy Dreamer on creative. So, I don't care that I'm not first. I'm first to you guys. Like that's my only. That's all that matters to me. For people who subscribe to me, people who ride with me, I get you the info. I do not care about recognition beside that. Do I appreciate my info being run as their own? I've brought that up with Melter and Mike Johnson before. No, I don't appreciate that. And getting blocked after it. That kind of shit I don't appreciate. But it does not bother me even the slightest bit if I'm not first. I'm just trying to get info out to you guys. And before I get into this tournament, frankly, I got to thank TNA for giving me something to talk about, because about 3 weeks ago, I had to put one of my cats down. And if you know me, my cats are my babies, my dogs too, but my animals, my babies. I have a farm here at the house. I had 7 cats. Now I have 6. Technically, I have 7 again because my daughter moved back in after moving out for 4 months, and but I told her cat has to live in her room. But yeah, we got a lot of creatures walking around here, so that was a very difficult time for me. And pet owners understand how that goes, but TNA has really given me something to talk about lately. So again, some good, some bad. We're gonna get into this Knockouts TV title tournament bracket. So that's a lot to say. If you've been listening to me for a long time, I haven't knocked TNA's marketing in a long time. I had a real hard on for that when I started my channel because I was studying marketing at the time. I still have a passion for it. I love it, but it's not something I've at this stage of my life I pursue or try to get into. But I used to really ride them about their marketing, whether it's social media or whatever. And to be honest, to this day, I still don't follow them on X or YouTube or Facebook because it all pisses me off so much. Their reliance on the old TNA library, and instead of pushing today's talent, let's push Samoa Joe's match from 15 years ago. So not even that, 20 years ago. That's like always kind of been my issue with them. So I haven't destroyed them for this in a while because marketing has improved significantly, and I've tried to point out when it has. Regarding the announcement of this tournament, I was okay with the way they did it at Slammiversary. I nitpicked a little bit on it because I thought it buried Elena Black, who just won the match, and focused on the two girls who lost. That was me kind of nitpicking a little bit. I think they unfortunately possibly foreshadowed the finals by doing that. They kind of made it about Indy Hartwell and Mara Sade early, which I didn't really like. We'll see if that's how it plays out, and we'll get into my predictions here in a little bit. We'll see if that's how it plays out, but I feel like they kind of gave a little bit away doing that. So that was my issues, but I had no problem with them doing it at Slammiversary. And maybe they felt that was just the best time to do it. I thought it buried the person who just won the match. But on social media, it's not a terrible strategy to say, hey, in 30 minutes, we're going to release the brackets. It got everyone talking for 30 minutes and for several minutes after. Well, I mean, not just several minutes after, for hours after. It was the talk of TNA Twitter yesterday. Absolutely. But I used to kill them for their their YouTube channel. And I would say, man, if this company can figure out how to leverage YouTube, like it really could be it is a good income source for them already, but I'm like, man, if they could create content that today's fans really care about, that could do wonders for improving that revenue stream. So if you're going to do a tournament like this, and it's a big deal, people have already been talking about it, why not do a live tournament bracket reveal? You can do it as a YouTube live. You can do it as a fucking Facebook live for all I care. But you could do it a live stream on YouTube, or you can even just announce, hey, in 30 minutes, we're releasing the brackets on YouTube. So you get the same chatter, you bounce people from one platform to another, and you have a bunch of live viewers and improve revenue. Like, I mean, if you think that I'm just like nitpicking at these small details, that's fine. That's your opinion. That is just the way my brain operates. And I just feel like there's a lot more that you could do. And now it just, in general, as you got more people on YouTube, now people are bouncing around and watching other videos. There's just, man, I just feel like there's a more creative way that you could do it. So to me, this was like a little cookie cutter of putting this information out. So moving along, I said this when I reviewed, I don't know if it was when I was reviewing Slammiversary, or I know I did it on another video. I'm optimistic about this title. I understand saying, well, they have a lot of knockouts. They have 2 tag teams right now, which has always been the TNA problem. It doesn't matter if there's 8 women in the division or if there's 20. There's 2 tag teams. That is always an issue. And I can totally understand saying you already have 2 titles. One of them you're horrible at booking. Okay? Get it. 100% get it. But my counter was that the actual knockouts world title has been the one in 2026 at least that has had the best vision, the best creative vision, the best direction. They are not deep in star talent. They are not. They are deep in talent. They are not deep in star talent, much like the male side of things. There's like 3 people at the top of the main event picture. But you can argue the Knockouts world title picture has multi-main eventers, all right? And you have a lot of women who are chasing that title. They're not just women in the division fighting for nothing. Like a good portion of them want that belt. So, you add this to the Knockouts division's like 19 girls deep. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way, but I think there's in the ballpark of 19 or 20 girls on the roster. They could have filled this whole roster out with just knockouts and had some left over. All right. They chose, to throw a couple NXT. We'll get into that. But I am quite optimistic. And if it is a true TV championship, remember once upon a time there was the digital media championship, that hunk of shit that was just going to be defended on social media platforms and stuff. They did that. They defended on YouTube once, and then it just became, a joke title after that. If this is something that they say, hey, it is going to be defended on TV, I think that's a good thing. It will give the knockouts a little more to do. Do I want it defended every episode? Not really, because you're going to run out of contenders. unless you kind of do what we thought they would do with Mustafa Ali's international championship, where he's bringing in indie talents. You could do the same explosion matches or versus Brittany Brooks and all this, but put it on TV for the title, and people will be into it. A lot of the TNA fans like the jobbers. Maybe that's a bad term, but the jobbers you bring in to wrestle the girls. Because there's a pretty deep pool of talent for females on the independent scene. Maybe not so much for the men. I think that's improving, but there's always been a pretty deep talent of females because there's not as many slots on television. So I am having optimism that they will book this thing pretty well. You're probably going to need kind of a workhorse champion a little bit. I don't know if they have that. They got a couple. I just don't think they're the ones that they're going to put the belt on. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's get into the tournament bracket itself. Okay, so I've always had issues with the way TNA lays out their tournaments. NWA, all their faults, is very good when they do a tournament of saying, this motherfucker is the number 1 seed. This person is the 16th seed. Okay? By the way they have laid this tournament out, your number 1 seed is Indy Hartwell and your number 16 seed is Allie. Does that make any sense whatsoever? You can argue Indy Hartwell's the number 1 seed. She's not the best wrestler on the roster, even a little bit. But you could argue, based off the way she is pushed. She's taken on Vicky Venuto in the first round, which you would say is, let's not even say Allie's the 16th seed. There's kind of different ways you can lay out a tournament. But Vicky Venuto is clearly one of the bottom seeds. So I think that works. And then it's you saying your Elena Black is your number 2 seed, basically. And then Emma Elegance 3, Harley Hudson 4. And then we're just going off the left side, okay? Because I still view it. I view it like it's the NBA, and here's the East versus the West, okay? I'm not necessarily putting them all together. That's why I said we'll scratch Allie as the 16th. Even if you're just taking it left versus right. Now, the left side of the bracket, to me, looks a little bit more competitive. You could argue that. But Jada Stone is on the other side, basically listed as the top seed in this thing. Okay, if you just take the 4 wrestlers, Jada Stone, Alicia Edwards, Jody Threat, Gabby Forsyth, neither of them are better. None of them, of those 4, are better than Mara Sade. You can argue if they're better than Tasha Steelz, maybe a couple. None of them are better than Heather by Elegance. And then you can argue who's better than Allie. My whole point to this rant is that if you're going to put a tournament out, you have to balance the talent. You cannot have one side that is have a better group of wrestlers than the other. And with the matchups, you cannot format it to where 2 potential jobbers face in the second round and 2 top talents, and then a top talent gets eliminated in the first round because they're wrestling each other, like 2 top talents. I hope I'm making sense what I'm trying to say because I'm stumbling a little bit. It's early in the morning. I just woke up. I didn't sleep in as much as I wanted to because my dog was barking. Maybe I'm stumbling over a little bit. But I have some minor issues with the way that they lay this out because I think you're eliminating some people early on that I would like to see advance and that I think should advance. Now, when they announced this tournament, I think a lot of people assumed we were going to have at least 4 indie talents in this thing. There are 4 outside talents in this, don't get me wrong. But we're only working with 2 indie talents in Gabby Forza, who I believe is Bear Bronson's wife or girlfriend. I think it's his wife. And let's see, on that side, that's the only one. The rest on the right are all current knockouts. On the left, we have one indie talent and two NXT talents. So that's what I'm saying. Like the balance is a little bit off to me. Vicky Venuto's on there. She has wrestled in TNA a little bit, and the fans have been fans have been asking for Gabby Forza too, but I don't think we've seen her in TNA in any way. We've seen Vicky, and I think if correct me if I'm wrong, I think Vicky teamed up with somebody, Indy Hartwell, maybe on a pre-show to take on Tessa Blanchard and one of either Mila Moore or Mila Moore, excuse me, or Victoria Crawford. But I think she was like a recruit on the pre-show. So she kind of deserves the spot. I think they're looking at her. I think it's pretty clear they're looking at her. All right. Thea Hall is in this from NXT and Wendy Chu. I'm not expecting either of them in the finals or winning this thing, but to me, it's a little bit tone deaf because number one, the TNA fans wanted indie talent here. And we're going back to the NXT well, where Tommy Dreamer, old fat nut, put the Knockouts Championship on 3 NXT talents over in the last couple years, progressively pissing off the fan base more as it happened. The first one they would okay, cool. JC Jane, it was a little bit of a shocker, but they ran with it. It fit the story. And then later, Kalani Jordan and Ariana Grace, fan base progressively getting more pissed off. So NXT talent should be nowhere near this fucking belt. That's my point. They shouldn't even be sniffing the fucking leather strap. They should be nowhere near this. But of course, they feel from a marketing and promotion standpoint, hey, let's have a couple of recognizable NXT talents on here. So I'm not totally mad at them for it, but I would have liked to see them try out a couple of potential future knockouts because you're going to, even though they have a pretty large division, you're going to have to grow it a little bit if you're going to defend this thing as much as you're saying you're going to. So, minor issues with it, but issues nonetheless. Very much expected Brittany Brooks Brittany Brooks Bree. Oh my lord. Maybe they shouldn't sign her. I'm struggling. I expected Brittany Brooks to be in this thing. She has done like a couple explosion tapings in a row. So, and she's Chris Bay's girlfriend. She does a good job here in Las Vegas. She does good heel work, even though she looks like a baby face. But I fully expected her to be in here. She was not. And there's a couple girls on social media campaigning, which I think would have been a good way to push this thing out a little bit. But of course, you got to get it, you got to start at the TV taping. So maybe there's not time for that. Alex Gracia was openly asking to be in this thing. She even cut a promo, took her time to cut a promo on this thing. And she's been openly trying to get into the Knockouts division. And she's been actually sometimes I'll do my mailbag. Someone will ask me, who would you like to see in a Knockouts division? I've used her name before. I've always kind of thought she was TV ready and she's hot. I think she would be a pretty good addition. She looks like she's grinding pretty hard. For whatever reason, TNA does not like when someone steps forward and asks to be part of the division. I don't know what it is. I've seen over the years, Lufisto was, and fans thought that she would, because she teamed with Jordan Grace on the Indies at the time, that she was like, yeah, throw her in there. Thunder Rosa openly campaigning at one point. There was another name I'm trying to think of that was a bigger name, saying they wanted to get down, and it was just like, they're just kind of like, hey, don't come to us, we'll come to you. Like, I don't understand how that works. But anyway, we're 20 minutes into this thing. Let's kind of get into predictions all the way around. Now, when they announced the title, before, just when there was a rumor, before we knew it was a TV tournament title, TV title, didn't mean to throw the word tournament in there. I thought Elena Black I thought she was just earmarked for this thing. I know she is teasing the Knockouts Championship. To me, she's the odd woman out. And there's a few girls who are saying, I want to be champion. Indy Hartwell, obviously. Ash by Elegance trying to get back up in there. Elena Black has been saying it to, and even though she is winning some matches, to me, she's the one disconnected from that world title. I don't see her wearing that thing. She's improving a lot. I just don't see it. So to me, she works as the champion, and she wears purple. It would look really good on her. But anyway, first round, we have future Knockouts world champion Indy Hartwell versus Vicky Venuto. Vicky Venuto might carry this match a little bit, but we all know Indy Hartwell's going to win. So we're just going to say Indy Hartwell wins. Harley Hudson versus Tia Hall. This one is a little off to me. We're missing some girls in this thing, okay? Not only did they throw NXT talents in here and not put all the knockouts in, we're missing Mila Moore in this, which some would say she's green. But I mean, Alicia Edwards has been green since 1998, and she's in this thing. So I think that would have been a good opportunity for her, because now we're breaking off from the faction with Tessa Blanchard. I don't think Victoria Crawford's missing too, but I don't expect Victoria Crawford to be on the roster going forward. That's just my personal gut, because it was clear Tommy Dreamer hire. Okay. There's the Tommy Dreamer hire of like, I hired Mila Moore as an up and comer, and Tommy Dreamer, like, let me go hire hot 40-year-olds and put them in the company. Like, there's two differences. Okay. So I don't expect her to be around. This would be an opportunity to kind of relaunch Mila Moore. You know, obviously you can have green talent in the first round. That's okay. But I think it would have been an opportunity for her to start establishing herself as a single talent. So I would have liked to see her in it. Ash by Elegance is not in it. The title's probably beneath her, given her world title status, being a former champion and really always kind of being in that picture. Lane Lee's not in it. It's also kind of beneath her. She's a 2-time Knockouts champion, and obviously Queen of the Rubber match, Xia Brookside. She would throw off the tournament anyway, having rubber matches up and down. So anyway, Harley Hudson versus Thea Hall. A lot of people are not offended by the NXT inclusion because they say they're not going to make it out the first round. I fully expect Thea Hall to win this match. I do not think Harley Hudson's going to win. I think she'll have a good match. I do not expect her to win. I don't know if I've ever seen Harley Hudson win, but I definitely don't see her beating an NXT talent. So then after that, we're going to have Elena Black versus Wendy Chu. Elena Black, I fully expect to win that. And then this is where it gets a little interesting. M by Elegance versus Rosemary. So I pointed out at Slammiversary that the Elegance brand carried the shit out of that match. I'm not saying Rosemary and Allie are bad wrestlers. I am not. But M by Elegance and Heather by Elegance are superior to them in the ring. And they carried the entire match and then lost, which I think it sucks for any wrestler. I do. When you sit there and have one side that's just so much more talented than the other, and then they lose, kind of a bad look. But I get it. Elegance brand has taken a couple L's in a row to Rosemary and Allie. So one of them is winning here. It's going to be 50-50. Rosemary and Allie are not going to both win. M and Heather are not going to both win. So I'm going to say M by Elegance wins here. They know. They have to know internally. I know that they do. They're very happy with that free agent signing when they got her, when they found her, when they discovered her. And you've heard me say many times, she is the best fucking wrestler in this division. Above all of these women, all of them. Okay? So I fully expect M by Elegance to win. Now, on the other side, Jada Stone versus Alicia Edwards. You guys know I'm an Alicia Edwards fan. She is not going to win this match. Not. I think Jada Stone's a little green too, but they got something with her. And, you know, they're going to want to showcase her. They're going to want to showcase her 1,000 times more than they want to showcase Alicia Edwards in the ring. So Jada Stone is going to win. I would not put her at the top of this bracket. That's a little off to me. You know, it would either be Mara Sade or Heather. Mara regardless, Mara Sade and Heather by Elegance should be the top 2 seeds on this side. They should not be in the same, I don't even know what you want to call it, quarterfinal bracket or whatever. They should not be. Jody Threat taking on Gabby Forza. There is a world where Gabby Forza does win here because they might want to say, hey, we got 2 indie talents in here. Let's try to push one of them. There's a world where that happens. I don't know much about her. I'm not going to lie. I know pretty much next to nothing. I've seen Jody Threat enough where she's pretty good. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to, you know what? I was actually going to say Gabby Forza for the upset. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But I think Jody Threat will win here. I think they would like to see Jada Stone versus Jody Threat have a match as far as TNA goes. Then we have Mara Sade versus Tasha Steelz. That's a pretty big first round matchup. I know they don't use Tasha Steelz a whole lot. Her position is she's very solidified in her position in the Order 4. And I've always thought she's one of the best top to bottom knockouts, you know, like pound for pound, you could say. She's obviously a smaller girl, but it's just charisma, mic skills, entrance, you know, just taking everything into consideration. There's been times where I said she's the best knockout. So, and then I've seen this on social media too, where some people were disappointed that these two were wrestling in the first round. Like they would have liked to seen both of them advance. Mara Sade will advance here, no doubt in my mind. And then we have Heather by Elegance versus Allie. I think Heather by Elegance is a much better wrestler than Allie. Allie is serviceable enough, though. I just don't like that Allie has pinned Heather a couple times. I think in the tag team match, the 6-way, the 6 knockout, and the world title match. But I'm going to say Allie wins here. Allie's too fresh, you know, coming back to the company. I don't think they're going to beat her. So moving along to the second round, Indy Hartwell. I got her versus Thea Hall. I have Indy Hartwell winning there. I have Elena Black versus M by Elegance, which is going to be an odd one. That's going to be a very, very odd one because we have 2 heels. I don't see Rosemary advancing just so they can go babyface versus heel. I don't see that. But it's a very odd pairing. Elena Black versus Maggie. For all we know that they're going to start breaking the Elegance brand up, though. For all we know, I'm not saying anything, but we just go off the history of Knockouts tag teams, and eventually, when they're done and they say, "Hey, we're not going to put the belts back on you," they find a way to break them up. And even though I'm really high on both girls, I think Maggie's the standout because Maggie can get to the title picture, the world title picture. So I think they're going to test her out as a babyface here. Maybe. But I can also see a fuck finish where Ash by Elegance costs Elena Black this match. So it can happen either way. I think the fans want to see Maggie. The fans want to see Maggie and Heather in the finals of this thing, actually. I already know a lot of people want that. Maybe you don't. I know a lot of people do. But this is probably this is the hardest one for me to figure out in this entire thing. But I'm gonna say Elena Black finds a way to beat M by Elegance. I hate saying that, but I think that's what they want to do. I think they're gonna give us the Indy Hartwell versus Elena Black match after that. You know, I think they think that is money, even though we've had it before. You know what? No, they've given us that too much. No. There's no way. I'm gonna go M by Elegance advances. There's no way they're going back to Indy Hartwell versus Elena Black. Our other side, Jada Stone versus Jody Threat. I'm going to say Jada Stone advances there as well. Other side, Mara Sade versus Allie. Mara Sade will definitely advance. They're gifting Mara Sade the finals. Let's get that out of the way. And then semis, we're going to have Indy Hartwell versus M by Elegance. I want to say M by Elegance advances in this thing. And I'm going to say she does. Even though the safe money is to say Indy Hartwell makes it to the finals of this thing, I'm going to put M by Elegance in the finals. I think they want to see what she can do on that level. And Indy Hartwell, they want to put the Knockouts title on her. Maybe because Tommy Dreamer's gone, they pivot from that. Maybe. But I still think that is what they want to do. Indy Hartwell's coming out saying it is my lifelong dream to be Knockouts champion. Like, I just can't see them giving her the consolation prize. Elena Black, I can see getting the consolation prize. I can also see Elena Black costing her this match. I hope there's not fuck finishes in this thing, but I can see Elena Black costing her. And then on the other side, Mara Sade versus Jada Stone. I got Mara Sade winning. So I've got the finals. Mara Sade versus M by Elegance. I 1000%. There's actually no such thing as anything higher than 100%. I hate when people say, "Oh, 101%." Like, but 1000% think M by Elegance should win this thing. But I think they're going to put it on Mara Sade. I think it's good to have your inaugural champion be a babyface. I think that probably works a little bit better than a heel. And it gives them a chance to put Mara Sade on TV a little bit more. I mean, we talk about the Elegance brand not being on TV. Like, Mara Sade has had nothing to do since joining this company. They made her, the Kiera Hogan replacement with Demon Bunny. She had the little feud with Ryan Nemeth. She had a little something with Elena Black, but like for the most part, she has nothing to do. And M by Elegance can have something to do if they begin splitting her off of the Elegance brand. So I have got Mara Sade winning this thing, and I'm sure I was a little confusing the way I bounced around and all that, but again, it's early. Work with me, people. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as far as who you think is going to win certain matches. Where was I right? Where was I wrong? And who you think is going to win this entire thing. I think it's Mara Sade. She's got that used to be in WWE type of thing, but she's not really popular enough to put the world title on. But she can work, so she can defend this thing every week. It just sounds like a babyface is earmarked to win this thing. So that'll do it for me this morning, folks. We'll see what happens. The tournament kicks off this week on Impact, and we'll see. I think most of these are very, very obvious. There's just a couple, where it could go either way. But I would have liked to see them lay this tournament out a little bit better. It's not horrible, but would have liked it to be a little bit better. That is going to do it for me, folks. We will be talking an episode of Impact very, very soon. I'm your boy, BQ. I'm out. Peace.